July 2011. The summer air hung heavy as Laura Ackerson set off on a familiar drive towards Raleigh, North Carolina. Her destination, the home of her ex-husband, Grant Hayes. Her mission, to pick up her beloved children. It was a routine visit, one she'd made countless times before. But this time, Laura would never return. Initially, a few hours of silence caused little alarm. A dead phone battery? A slight delay? It happens. But as hours bled into days, a chilling realization dawned on Laura's friends. Something was terribly wrong. Unbeknownst to them, a sinister plot had already unfolded. An apartment reeking of bleach, missing belongings, a bizarre letter, and a sudden departure by Grant and his new wife painted a disturbing picture. What truly happened to Laura that summer night? How did a loving mother, simply wanting to see her children, become the victim of such a dark and shocking mystery? This is the heartbreaking story of Laura Ackerson. Born on April 30th, 1984, Laura Ackerson was a beacon of joy from the start. Described as bright, bubbly, and warm-hearted, she was known for her sweet and gentle nature. Her early years were spent with her family at Grace Fellowship Church. However, Laura's childhood took a difficult turn in 1996 when her parents' seemingly perfect marriage crumbled, leading to a divorce that deeply affected the young Laura. After the separation, Laura moved with her mother Brenda to Iowa. Driven by a natural artistic talent, she later pursued graphic design. Seeking a fresh start, Laura eventually settled in Kingston, North Carolina, finding work in marketing and design, and for the first time, building a stable and cherished circle of friends in nearby Raleigh, a sense of belonging she had. In March 2007, a chance encounter at a local restaurant brought Laura face-to-face with Grant Hayes. Sharing the same birthday, they felt an immediate spark. Grant, a musician with local recognition and a seemingly magnetic personality, had a past. A previous marriage to a woman named Emily had ended in divorce, leaving him with a diagnosis of bipolar disorder and depression. Instead of adhering to his prescribed medication, Grant turned to self-medication with alcohol and drugs. His behavior became increasingly erratic, marked by bizarre delusions and amplified narcissism and aggression. To the outside world, Grant might have appeared to be a rising star, but behind closed doors, his relationship with Laura quickly spiraled into toxicity. He was controlling, both physically and emotionally abusive, and consistently unfaithful. Laura, already emotionally vulnerable from her childhood, found herself trapped, isolated from her friends, and her life dictated by Grant. Just months after meeting, they shockingly married. Laura, desperately seeking stability and love, believed she had found her fairy tale. Her friends, completely unaware of the whirlwind romance, could only hope she had made the right choice. Soon after, Laura became pregnant, overjoyed at the prospect of motherhood. Grant, however, was less than thrilled, his possessiveness intensifying. When their son, Grant Jr., was born 9 months later, Laura poured all her love into him. Naming the baby after himself seemed more an act of ego than sentimentality on Grant's part. While Laura cherished her son, Grant continued his pursuit of gigs, infidelity, and drug use, showing little interest in fatherhood. An opportunity in the Virgin Islands presented itself, and Grant seized it, leaving Laura and their newborn behind. But he wasn't alone for long. He began an affair with Amanda Perry Tucker, a single mother and aspiring actress. Amanda possessed something Grant desperately craved: nearly $200,000 in cash and valuable jewelry. For Grant, this wasn't just a romance. It was leverage. He flaunted the affair, using it as a weapon to taunt and ridicule Laura. But Laura, finally reaching her breaking point after years of abuse, made a decision Grant never anticipated. She was leaving him. Surprisingly, even Grant's own family and ex-wife encouraged her to walk away. Then came another twist. Laura discovered she was pregnant again. Despite everything, she gave Grant yet another chance, a testament to her deep love for her children and her desire to keep her family together, echoing the pain of her own parents' divorce. Laura moved with Grant Jr. to the Virgin Islands, hoping proximity would help. But Grant saw her arrival as an inconvenience, hindering his double life. Laura gave birth to her second son, who sadly faced serious health issues from birth. The need for better medical care forced their return to North Carolina, much to Grant's fury. Meanwhile, Amanda, now in New York, urged Grant to pursue opportunities in the entertainment industry there. But Grant's trips to New York were not for work. They were to be with Amanda. He then reached out to Laura with a seemingly innocent request to take Grant Jr. for a diaper modeling photo shoot. Laura agreed, wanting her children to have a relationship with their father. What she didn't know was Grant's true plan. When Grant didn't return their son, Laura turned to Facebook, where she discovered the devastating truth. Grant had secretly married Amanda in New York and was living with her and Grant Jr. Laura was heartbroken, but the nightmare wasn't over. During a confrontation, Grant dropped another bombshell. Their own marriage had never... The marriage certificate confirmed it. Grant's signature was missing. Then came the final blow. Grant and Amanda filed for and won emergency custody of Grant Jr. Laura, without a formal custody agreement, job, or stable housing, was powerless. Despite presenting evidence of Grant's abuse and instability, the initial court ruling went against her. However, Laura's determination forced the court to order psychological evaluations. In the meantime, she was allowed daily calls and weekend visits. But Grant and Amanda made these moments unbearable. Still, Laura persevered. The psychological evaluation results were damning for Grant, revealing a lack of genuine connection with his children, who were demonstrably happier with Laura. Laura, on the other hand, was described as a devoted and nurturing mother. The court ordered a more in-depth evaluation. Around the same time, Amanda gave birth to a baby girl, Lillian. Following an intense custody battle, a rotating 3-2 schedule was established. But Grant was unraveling, his temper worsening. Then, on July 13th, 2011, the fragile balance shattered. Laura had plans to meet her friend Shaven that evening, but she never showed up and she never called. Shaven's initial concern soon morphed into alarm. Laura, who was expected to meet her, was nowhere to be found. The last anyone heard from her was a text to Grant, letting him know she was on her way. He never replied. Days crawled by, filled with unanswered calls and texts. By July 18th, 5 days of deafening silence led Laura's loved ones to officially report the 27-year-old mother missing. Police acted swiftly. Laura's apartment offered no clues, appearing normal, with no signs of a struggle. Surveillance footage confirmed she left the building but never returned. Their focus then shifted to Grant and Amanda's apartment. Armed with a search warrant, officers entered and were immediately struck by an overpowering smell. The apartment had been meticulously scrubbed clean, a chillingly spotless scene. But amidst the cleanliness, inconsistencies emerged. A shower curtain, a vacuum cleaner, several rugs were missing. Discolored patches on the floor hinted at frantic scrubbing with harsh chemicals. And then, investigators found 2 disturbing pieces of paper. The first was a handwritten song draft titled Manila. The lyrics painted a gruesome picture of a woman being murdered, strangled to death. The second was a supposed agreement, signed by Laura, relinquishing custody of her children to Grant for $25,000. To anyone who knew Laura, this was an obvious forgery. Her children were her world. No amount of money could ever take their place. Time was of the essence. They needed to locate Grant and Amanda, and fast. Security camera footage provided a clearer timeline. After July 13th, Amanda was seen with the children at a local Chick-fil-A. Grant, meanwhile, was captured on camera in the early hours of July 14th at Walmart and Target in Raleigh, purchasing a disturbing array of items: goggles, bleach, trash bags, tape, a reciprocating saw and blades, and a lint roller. Later that day, Amanda made a strange call to her daughter, asking her to watch the kids for most of the day. Then, on July 16th, Grant made another unnerving purchase: large quantities of ice and coolers. Shortly after, they rented a U-Haul trailer. Grant, Amanda, and the 2 boys were headed to Richmond, Texas, supposedly to visit Amanda's sister, Karen Berry. They arrive around July 19th, but Grant made another suspicious stop, this time at a local Home Depot, buying heavy-duty gloves and 8 bottles of acid. Texas police, now working with North Carolina authorities, paid Karen Berry a visit. Her account: on the night of July 19th, Grant and Amanda had asked to borrow her boat. Their destination: Oyster Creek, a remote, gator-infested canal with thick vegetation and murky water. Their questions were chilling. Did the alligators in Oyster Creek eat humans? Could wild hogs consume flesh? Were bloodthirsty sharks native to Texas waters? Karen dismissed these as strange city inquiries, but for investigators, the truth was horrifyingly clear. They were scouting a body dump site. A team of officers was immediately dispatched to Oyster Creek, while another combed the area for surveillance footage. Tragically, both efforts yielded results. In Oyster Creek, after hours of navigating the treacherous waters, police discovered human remains. They had found Laura. What was left of her had been so badly mutilated that determining the exact cause of death was difficult. However, forensic examiners concluded she had likely died from manual strangulation or a powerful blow to the neck. The evidence was overwhelming. The bleach-soaked apartment, the forged custody letter, the disturbing purchases, the chilling song lyrics, and the remains in Oyster Creek. Laura's life had ended not in an accident, not in a moment of rage, but as the result of a calculated, cold-blooded plan. Grant Hayes and Amanda Perry Tucker were no longer just suspects. They were murderers. The discovery of Laura's white 2006 Ford Focus revealed a desperate attempt at a cover-up. The interior had been meticulously cleaned, and there was visible damage to the rear of the vehicle. Further damning evidence surfaced when surveillance footage captured Amanda near Karen Berry's home, discarding bottles of acid just 13 days after Laura's disappearance. The net was closing in. On July 25, 2011, Grant Hayes and Amanda Perry Tucker were arrested at Grant's parents' house in North Carolina, both charged in connection with Laura's murder. Their separate trials became a stage for a predictable. Grant claimed Laura had arrived at the apartment and threatened Amanda, stating she would take her daughter as her own sons had been taken. He alleged Amanda had reacted violently, killing Laura, and that he had only helped cover up the crime. Amanda, portraying herself as a victim of Grant's years of emotional abuse and manipulation, offered a different narrative. She claimed Laura and Grant had argued, and Laura had accidentally hit her head, an event Amanda conveniently didn't witness. She said Grant instructed her to leave with the children while he called for help. Upon her return from Chick-fil-A, Laura was gone, Grant casually claiming she had already left. Amanda further stated that it wasn't until they were in Texas that Grant confessed the truth and threatened her into helping him conceal it. Despite their elaborate stories, the overwhelming evidence pointed directly at their guilt. Both Grant and Amanda pleaded not guilty, but the court wasn't convinced. Justice for Laura began to be served on September 16, 2013. Grant Hayes was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His demeanor in court was chillingly remorseless. He smiled, he laughed, seemingly unfazed by the gravity of his actions. It was as if he viewed his sentencing as a mere inconvenience. Amanda's sentencing followed months later, on February 19, 2014. She received a sentence of 13 to 16 years. The judge made his perspective clear. Amanda had the opportunity to prevent Laura's death, but chose to be a participant. While she may have expressed remorse, its sincerity was widely questioned. But Amanda's legal troubles didn't end there. Texas authorities pursued separate charges for tampering with evidence, resulting in an additional 20 years. Investigators pieced together the horrifying final moments of Laura's life. They believe Grant lured her to his apartment under false pretenses, likely promising her time with her boys, perhaps even hinting at a resolution to their custody battle. It was the only plausible reason Laura would have traveled alone from Kingston to Raleigh, especially given her friends' warnings. Tragically, Laura walked directly into a deadly trap. The theory suggests that upon her arrival, Grant and Amanda forced her to write and sign the fraudulent custody letter, using her children as leverage. Then, in a cold and calculated act, they attacked her, likely strangling her or delivering a fatal blow. Their motive was clear: to eliminate Laura permanently, freeing Grant to continue his life with Amanda without the inconvenience of custody disputes. The ultimate irony? Amanda and Grant divorced just a year later in October 2014. All the lies, the violence, the destruction ultimately led to nothing but heartbreak and loss. Today, Laura's two sons, along with Amanda's daughter Lillian, are in the care of Grant's parents, who thankfully provide the loving and nurturing environment their father never could. Yet, the tragedy of these young boys growing up without their mother due to their father's selfish and horrific actions remains deeply heartbreaking. Laura Ackerson was a vibrant, loving, and creative woman, a devoted mother, a loyal friend, and a cherished daughter who deserved so much more. Her death stands as a stark and devastating example of the consequences of manipulation, control, and unimaginable cruelty. Laura's story serves as a powerful reminder of the vital importance of knowing your worth, setting firm boundaries, and having the strength to walk away from those who inflict harm, no matter how strong you believe your love to be. Laura didn't get the chance for a fresh start, but perhaps her tragic story can empower someone else to choose themselves before. Thank you for joining us on this somber journey into the tragic story of Laura Ackerson. Her life, full of love and hope, was cruelly cut short by unimaginable betrayal. What are your thoughts on this case? What warning signs do you think might have been missed? Share your reflections in the comments below. If you're drawn to gripping true crime stories from around the globe, be sure to check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we delve into fascinating cases from Latin America. You'll find a link in the description below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth investigations into the darkest corners of human nature. We appreciate you watching.